Thank you everyone for having us here today and for sticking around for the last act. My name is Christine and I am the product lead from Code for Canada representing the Ontario Fellows, and with me here is my partner in crime for the past 9 months, Lisa Bifano.
Hi everyone. As mentioned, I am a senior policy advisor with the Ministry of Training Colleges and Universities and project lead with the Code for Canada team. We're really excited to be here with you today to share with you our journey towards contributing to improve outcomes for adult learners in Ontario. In Ontario, we have approximately 200,000 adults participating in programs annually. These programs are foundational skills training, such as LBS, which is the Literacy and Basic Skills Program, high school diploma completion programs, and language training. The adult education system is quite complex. There are multiple entry points for learners, and there are 7 programs, and program administration spans across 3 ministries. So the Ministry of Training Colleges and Universities, Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Children, Community, and Social Services. Despite the availability of these programs, many of which are free, we know that there's a skills gap in Ontario. And therefore, there's a significant opportunity to reach more people who are in need of training. A recent study has revealed that 46% of working adults in Ontario have low literacy and 53% have low numeracy skills. And these levels are below the levels required to fully participate in Ontario's changing workforce and information-rich society. So the need for skills upgrading is well established. These skills underpin workforce participation, social inclusion, and productivity. People with higher essential skills are more likely to be employed, more able to fully participate in their communities, they're healthier, and they're more willing and likely to engage in further education and training. So our problem space here is quite broad, but it has allowed us the opportunity to really make an impact on the lives of prospective adult learners in Ontario. These adult learners are finding it difficult to navigate the complexity of the system, or are simply unaware that these programs exist and unaware of of the benefit these programs could have on their future outcomes.
To give you a better idea of who that adult learner is, I'd like to introduce you to Maya. So Maya recently immigrated to Canada, and she lives in Ontario and has been taking on part-time jobs here and there. As a single mother, she does her absolute best to financially provide for her family and also to set a good role model for her kids. In an effort to earn more money, she does try and get higher paying jobs, but through this process has identified that she first needs to work on some of her foundational skills. For example, she knows that she needs to get better at English, also improve her math skills and her digital skills. So being the pragmatic woman that she is, in her free time, often when the kids are asleep, she goes online to try and find information about schools that are near her that can help her with these skills. But she's not looking for just any type of school. In her situation, she doesn't have the luxury to pay for a sitter every time she needs to go to class. What she's really looking to find is a program that's near her house so she can save time in her commute, and also that provides financial support for childcare, and also something that's offered in the evenings because during the day she's working. So that may sound like Maya's asking for a lot here, but the reality of the situation is unless these factors are addressed, she cannot afford to participate in education. To give you an idea of what it looks like if you were to go online to look for online information about adult education, this is a snapshot of the current landscape. And it shouldn't be too surprising to you when I tell you that when we talk to learners, they tell us that navigating this is overwhelming and really discouraging and confusing. Not only that, the search for this type of information is not optimized. The details are hidden in PDFs and sometimes even in Excel documents. So for Maya, after a few hours of searching for information like this, unfortunately, she's feeling pretty discouraged. She still can't figure out what program she should take and where she should enroll in order to get the skills that she needs to improve. This is an example of what these adult learners are experiencing today. Today, they're experiencing decision fatigue, analysis paralysis, and this is due to overwhelming choice, conflicting direction, and disparate presentation of information. And in the context of program discovery, this is inhibiting them from being able to take their best next step towards education.
So in the absence of perfect online information, we identified an opportunity to better communicate learning opportunities to adults in a more accessible and modern way. And so we engaged Code for Canada to develop a learner-centered solution aimed at simplifying the discovery cycle for learners. Central to our work has really been elevating the voice of the adult learner to get a better understanding of their diverse needs while navigating the complex system. We work collaboratively with over 30 ministry partners from across government. So public servants love their acronyms, so here we go. TCU, the ODS, MCCSS, EDU, and the CSC. To arrive at a minimum viable product, we hosted monthly workshops, cross-ministerial sketching activities, and connected weekly with key government partners. These members helped us connect to learners and service providers. It truly was the engagement and willingness of our ministries to adapt new ways of working, and this was the key to the success of our work. It was the passion and the innovative spirit of these partners that really helped drive this work forward.
We also made it a priority throughout the engagement to continuously involve the public, talking to teachers, to learners, administrative staff, and counselors to understand what their diverse needs were. So we traveled across Ontario to go to where the learners are. We went to Thunder Bay to visit in their community centers. We went to different schools across the city and also to libraries to conduct in-depth one-on-one interviews with these learners to hear from them what their pains and gains were with the current adult education system. And it's through these conversations that we heard things like this. They tell us that they feel misinformed and that there's a lack of clarity of information, and that there is no reliable source that they could go to when they need help. They also tell us about the importance of wraparound information in addition to learning about adult education programs. For them, they need to understand this holistically. They need information about housing, childcare, and transportation, and how that works or does not work with the adult education programs. Throughout the course of our user testing, we made a lot of different versions of prototypes to bring with us to test with our learners. And it was this iterative process that allowed us to really quickly learn things along the way. For example, in the beginning, we had an assumption that the general public had a pretty good understanding of what adult education was, the types of programs, and what it has to offer. But when we talked to learners and tested with those earlier prototypes, we were completely wrong. They told us that they actually had no idea that some of these programs existed, the fact that many of them were free. People also thought that they were too old to participate in these programs, when in fact there is no upper limit on age. So what we did when we found these new types of themes is quickly pivot to create different types of prototypes, take those and test them with our learners. So what you see here is one of the versions that we created to try and demystify what adult education is. So bringing that all together, that brings us to our product vision, which is to build a unified adult education discovery platform and matchmaker that makes the adult learner feel empowered towards making their decision towards greater education and training. And grounded in our strategy is answering 3 learner questions. What is adult learning? What are the options? And which is best for my needs? In other words, with our product, we're addressing building foundational knowledge, findability, and fit. And now I'm really excited to show you, rather than just tell you, how all of this has come together. How we're going from a world that looks like this to a much more learner-centered experience of discovering adult education programs online.
So to walk you through the demo, we want to bring you back to Maya to really put you in her shoes. So her kids are finally asleep, and she only has about 10 minutes to do some research on education and training. So for Maya and people like her, this is the landing page that starts her experience. So on this page, we've worked really hard to use plain language and iconography to depict and demystify adult education. So we provide a brief description, and we also, at the bottom, you'll see 3 scenarios, really to help Maya validate whether or not adult education is for her. We provide an overview of all 7 adult education programs in a very concise way, so Maya can begin to understand what options are available to her. As a new feature, we introduce a program matcher. So for individuals who would prefer a more handheld experience, they can answer a series of questions and then be matched to an appropriate program that aligns with their identified needs and goals. On the bottom of the screen, you'll see 3 additional resources to help the user navigate this experience. So we linked to two existing features, one of which is the Employment Ontario Contact Centre, where Maya can chat with an agent. There's also the opportunity to fill out a contact form and be connected with a service provider. And because we heard that in education we use complex terms, we decided to include a glossary to help Maya understand some words that she may stumble upon.
So now let's use this matchmaker that we've created to help Maya figure out which of these programs is best for her situation and her goals. The experience starts grounded in a learner's goals, and in her situation, she's interested in improving her English and also in refreshing her skills towards greater employment. From there, we ask her a series of really simple questions, trying to understand what her situation is and what her goals are. After that, we're able to help her narrow down from the 7 programs that are offered to the 2 that are best suited for her. And in her situation, we're recommending the Literacy and Basic Skills program or the English as a Second Language program.
On the results page, we also provide additional resources that are relevant to Maya's situation. So for example, Maya indicated that she's an immigrant, so we link her to the settlement.org resource for her to obtain information on her citizenship. She also said that she's interested in employment opportunities, so here we link her to Employment Ontario. At the bottom, you'll notice 2 other features where Maya can either print or email the results page to herself. So when we spoke to learners, we heard that it's very challenging for them to constantly retell their story when they're talking to caseworkers or they're talking to the service providers. So these 2 features are intended to support the registration process for learners, to make a more seamless transition between an online experience to the face-to-face interactions with a service provider. Now, moving forward, let's say Maya wants to learn more about these 2 programs. So by clicking Compare, Maya is taken to a comparison screen, similar to what she may encounter in an e-commerce experience, where she can quickly and easily compare and contrast the program details to determine her best fit.
From here, after comparing, Maya is interested in one of these programs, and let's say it's the Literacy and Basic Skills program. And now she's ready to find a school that's near her that can deliver this type of training. When she clicks on Find Program Provider, she's taken to a dynamic faceted search. And you'll notice here that it's anchored in where she's located in Hamilton. She could also override that and put in her exact address. And also you'll notice on the side here in the filters, it's been pre-selected based off of the answers that she gave in the matchmaker. She can also go here and change or add more information. So in her situation, she can indicate through these filters that she's interested in an evening class or that she's interested in a place that has childcare services and access to computers. She could use this map to explore and find different locations that are near her. She can also do that in the list view. So since Maya is most interested in a location that's close to her, let's say she's interested in Hill Park Learning Center. When she clicks on that, you're getting a snapshot and an overview of all of the relevant information to help Maya know more about this service provider. At a glance, you can see that this location has access to libraries, has access to childcare, counseling, transportation tickets, and access to computers. Before Maya, it was really difficult for Maya to find this type of information. She would have to go across several different websites and manually aggregate whether or not a place has a certain type of training or offers a certain type of financial aid or childcare. But now with this, she has all of the context she needs to feel confident in enrolling in that program. So from here, Maya would fill out a simple contact form, and on the other end, the service provider would receive a notification that a prospective customer or prospective learner is interested in their program. When we took this and tested them with counselors and teachers, we learn that we're on the right track. They tell us about their excitement of using this with their clients and how it will save time because currently they're manually aggregating all of this information. They also tell us that it can be used in the classroom as a way to teach their students about goal setting.
So I want to bring you back to the stats. So I mentioned earlier that research points to the benefits of strengthened employee essential skills. So here, there's truly an opportunity to make an impact by getting learners to the right door to complete their training so that they can move on to further education or to better employment opportunities. A 1% increase in literacy can lead to a 2.5% increase in labor productivity. Skills training offers a return on investment to employers and to society more broadly. A strengthened workforce leads to greater prosperity for Ontario. So there's an exciting road ahead for modernizing the ways in which people interact and access information for adult education. What we've shown here is just the beginning. This is the foundation on which the future adult education experience can be built upon. Our work with Code for Canada has allowed us to arrive at an MVP that is reflective of the needs of learners. As you saw, this information did not exist before. And so you can imagine it would be really difficult for people like Maya to determine their next steps. Along the way, in working with Code for Canada, we've seen broader ministerial culture change, whereby we've broken down silos, which has led to greater trust and greater collaboration. By working together, we are able to drive change and quickly show progress by demonstrating quick wins. By demonstrating what's possible, we are able to obtain confidence and momentum from our ministry partners. We made it a priority for government partners to constantly see how their feedback and contributions are reflected in the product. And we've inspired our partners to think outside the box. There's a lot of talented professionals in government who often feel confined to working in rather traditional ways. So going into this project, it was a bit uncomfortable. As you can imagine, we're in an organization that's very calculated. But this work has really allowed us to embrace uncertainty and think big. And we've realized that it's okay to uncover solutions iteratively. A product does not need to be defined at the start, but that engagement with users should, as opposed to validating assumptions once a product has been developed. And we learned to make mistakes, though the stakes are quite high in government. And we learned that ongoing engagement allows us to get to the root of the problem, and as a result, arrive at an even better solution. Working with the fellows has allowed us and inspired us to embrace more agile, more user-centered approaches to the way we tackle policy and program challenges beyond just the digital solution. And this demonstrates what I'm sure will be a lasting impact of our partnership with Code for Canada.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Oh, almost. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with your story over the past 9 months, and to our partners who really have worked so tirelessly towards this mission. We're really excited about the impact that this is going to make in the lives of people like Maya as they move closer towards their goals of greater employment and education. Thank you.
Thank you.